All right. We're going to be working on collecting all these UFO experiences and extraterrestrial contact, spiritual experiences, so that we can start getting people attracted to our U.A.P /extraterrestrial page. So if you all can think of all of your extraterrestrial sightings, UFOs, etc., that spiritual experience would be a good time tonight for it. I just want to say I love you all. I'm glad to feel your vibrations. We have much to do and a little time to do it in. All right. I do have a powerful experience, spiritual experience I'd like to share. I'd like to ask in Dallas, Texas to share with us in a minute here. I'd like to get but who else has a spiritual experience they'd like to share with us first?
I got one.
Okay, very good.
Well, today when I got up, things were a lot different from yesterday. And everything just like I knew things ahead of time, even stuff that I was watching.
That's a sign of transforming. That's all. Your vibrations raising up. Real good. I love you and I believe in you. Any other spiritual experience you'd like to share with us? I know you had a lot of sightings.
I have something to share.
Okay, very good.
Regarding the spiritual experience. Okay, I've been practicing my OBE. I want to just do it.
Talking to your older. Wait a minute.
Okay, you got. Let me get off speaker. Hold on.
Wait a minute. Let me. Yeah. Thank you. You said you were talking to your older niece. We have to understand.
No. Sometimes I practice my OBE.
Okay, very good.
And I noticed here for the past 2 days, if I get to a certain point where I'm dropping down, something frightens me. I'm scared. I just wake up. I just open my eyes. I don't know. My eyes pop open, trying to figure out why I get scared to a certain point.
So when what's dropping down?
But I felt dropping my body down, if I had the OBE experience. It's like my eyes just pop up, something's open. All right, I have been practicing my OBEs, but I feel like I need to, right? And I noticed that for the past couple of days, when I lay down, I try to sink down, drop down, where I can separate the two entities. It seems like I get to the point where sometimes my eyes, I'm scared. I wake up I'm scared to go, a little bit further. It wasn't that way before, but I was wondering, is that normal or?
It is normal. But
okay.
I would suggest though that you try to remove the fear and take that empty-handed leap into the open void. Because a lot of times fear will block us.
How do I do that?
Well, by learning more about OBEs. And what I'll do is I'll send you in your next package a lot more information about OBEs for you to study and learn. Are you following what I mean? And perhaps some people will share some OBE experiences with you tonight too, to put you at ease. This is one thing I want you to know about OBEs, all of you. Whenever you have OBEs, I want you to remember one thing. The ultimate of it is you always return back to your body, into your room. Did everybody hear what I said?
Yes.
Well, then you got to know it's only an experience. It's real, just like here, but this that you call in reality is also only an experience. You all are conscious spiritual beings projecting or having a physical experience. Are you following what I mean? Yeah. It's only an experience. All right, now, Amanda, go ahead. What else do you want to do? Let's clear up some of these things for you.
I just know that when I had my first one, I was really excited, and then I thought I had a second one. I guess now I'm just maybe putting too much thought into it when I do it this time.
Yeah, you can't try too hard. You have to. The most important thing, please try to be a lot clearer. Put your mouth. Be conscious of the fact that if you get cloudy, I can't understand you. The thing about the OBE, you can't try too hard. It's most important that you relax and let go. That's the most important aspect of it. That you have to. You can't get tense and all trying too hard because you just fight it back. To have a spiritual experience, you can't have It's almost like a person falling off of a porch and they break their neck and die, whereas a baby falls out a 3-story window and just land and bounce a little bit and be perfectly fine. It's the difference is because the person is an adult on the porch and they get tense. And that's when bones, they have problems, but the baby is relaxed. So you have to relax and let go of the physical. You follow me? Because if you focus too hard on the physical, it's hard for you to raise up in vibrations in a spiritual sense. You follow what I mean? So you have to learn how to just take deep breaths and relax and let go. And trust in your experience. Trust in yourself. And the best way to do that, I think, is to before you have to have a clear intent. Before you have your OBE or out-of-body experience, be very clear about where you want to go and what you want to achieve, what your agenda is. Because you're not going to choose something that's going to frighten you or be harmful to you. You know what I'm saying? In other words, it's not just about coming out of your body, because that would be unknown. And that's what frightens people about the dark, Amanda. It's not what's in it because they don't know. It's what they don't know that frightens them. Are you following me? So if you just want to have, or are you compliant? You hearing what I'm saying? It's not very responsive. What I'm saying, if you plan to have an OBE,
yes, I do.
Be very clear. Thank you. I appreciate the response. When you want to have OBE, you have to relax. Take deep breaths and relax, and focus and have a very clear intention about what it is, where you want to go, what it is you want to achieve or experience. Be very clear about that. You follow? And then you can trust in that. You follow what I'm saying? You can trust in your own experience because you're in control of it. Because if you just focus on, trying to have an out-of-body experience come out of your body, that's just unknown. You follow what I mean? And that's what frightens people, is the uncertainty, not knowing. You see what I mean? But when you take control of it by directing your purpose, then it removes the fear. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. Now, we'd like to share with you all a very good, clear, loud, and clear experience. The sister Ankh in Dallas, Texas. Could you speak up and give us exactly what you experienced the other night when you called me? Please.
Sure. Last Thursday night after class, I believe we had
Don't forget to speak up loud now.
Yes, it was after class, Thursday night class, and I moon read from the Patarak about Atlantis. As we neared the end of our class, I started to get a little sleepy. So after class, even though I was sleepy and had been falling asleep, I decided to get up and go and take a shower, which I did. And the shower itself woke me up. So after the shower, I still got in bed to go to sleep. I cut all the lights off, and I didn't go to sleep immediately. I was tossing and turning, and then eventually, of course, I fell asleep. So I had shared with the moon before, other than listening to tapes that he'd given me and reading like the scrolls and different things that interested me of the material that he had said, I went ahead and I started doing this mantra of ego fall back, and Ankh, or conscious being, come forward in love. And I always say that, and I would catch myself throughout the day saying this because different things would happen, and I would immediately get in the flesh, and start to get angry. And then I remind myself, I am the observer, ego fall back.
I love that.
Fall all the way back, conscious being come forth in love. Conscious being come forth. And then I found myself watching things happen like it was an out-of-body, even though I was conscious. So I continue to do that daily, and to go back to the actual night of the out-of-body, I fall asleep, and when I fall asleep, I'm driving a vehicle, and it's a familiar vehicle. It's the vehicle that I had purchased before the one that I currently have.
I remember
the four-door sedan. And I'm driving down the interstate, and I was familiar with the roads.
Your input is invalid.
I've driven that road many a time from Georgia to Atlanta. And so I was basically headed to my hometown, and a car was coming up behind me very fast. So, and I was in the passing lane, in the far left lane of the interstate. So I actually had to get over on the left shoulder in order to keep the car from hitting me. So I got on the left shoulder, the car passed, I got back over, and I was like, oh my goodness, my exit is coming up. So I have to go all the way over 3 lanes basically to get to make my exit. I did make my exit in time, and when I made my exit, I immediately saw the area. I said, okay, I know where I am now. So there's a 4-way stop, there's a traffic light there, and I make a right turn. I'm still in my vehicle. I go down a little bit, and I make a right turn into a gas station. And so I go from being in my car to being on a bicycle. And I was like, how is that even possible? Why am I on a bicycle turning into a gas station? And so I looked at the emblem. I looked up, and the emblem was green. And I'm like, okay, it's green. The only thing I could think of green at that time was like a Shamrock service station, which they don't even have those anymore.
I remember.
And the area that I was in, it looked depressed, and I explained to Moon it was a black neighborhood, clearly. And it was the kind of service station, old school, that had the sliding glass thing for you to pay, where it wasn't open for you to go in to do anything. They just slide the window, and take your money or whatever. So I stood there and looked a minute, and I was like, what's going on? I said, this seems so real. I'm saying this to myself in the actual thing. I say, this has to be an out-of-body because this is just too real. And I said, what happened to my car? Where's my car? So I said, okay, now, I'm concerned, basically. So I said, I started walking, got off the bike. I said, I'm just going to walk, and I'm going to go in the direction that I think my house is. And when I say my house, that's my childhood home, because that's where I was headed, okay? And so I walked down the road, and the road is one of those blacktop roads. It's not like concrete or a cement road. It's a blacktop. And, again, it's in a black neighborhood, and I'm just walking down the road. On the right side of the road where I'm walking down, there are houses. And on the left side, it's running water, like a lake or a levee or a river or something, but it's running water. So I'm walking down the street, and I see children out in the yard playing. And so I stop, and I start to talk to them. And, again, somehow I ended up inside in the house. There were 2 young girls, I'm going to say about in the age range of between 9 and maybe 9, 10, 12, something like that. And so one of the little girls said, well, I can't go because I need to take care of my mother. And there was a woman there in the bed. And so I just glanced at her, and then I proceeded to go outside. Well, the other little girl came out with me.
If I might interject, it's important, I think, to interject that very recently your dear mother just crossed over too. So consider that.
Exactly.
Yes, okay. Go ahead.
I thought about that as well. I'm sure. That.
Yes.
Because it's been puzzling to me, putting these pieces together. So I go outside.
That's why you should record every dream. See, every out of body.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I'm talking to her, and so I'm asking her, I'm telling her my situation. I was in my car, and then I went from being in a car onto a bicycle, and she's looking at me like, yeah, okay. And so I said, do you know where Booker T. Washington High School is? I said, because I live in a house that's behind the school. It's behind the school, literally, And so she was like, yes, I know where that school is. And so I was like, if you don't mind, if you could help me, get there or tell me how to get there. And so at the same time, I'm looking across the street on the side of the road where I tell you the running water is or the levee of it. And my car is just sitting there.
Yeah.
And so I'm puzzled at that point of how did my car get over here? And so I walk across the street and I open up the car door, and my purse is in there, my cell phone, everything is in the car. And the kids all come out. I don't know where they came from, and they were in my car, jumping up and down and bouncing on the seat and everything and playing. And so I take a piece of paper and tear off, and I write my name down on it, my full name, Vivica, and I put my phone number and everything. And I tear the paper off and I give it to the little girl, and I said, thank you for your help. And I said, if you ever need anything, you can call me. Please call me, and I'll help, or I'll do whatever I can do for you. But thank you for your kindness. And at that moment, that was it. I got in the car and I'm leaving, but go ahead.
Well, I'm very excited about that, and it's a beautiful thing to share with everybody else. But that OBE, I had a sense that you were trying to find your way home, that you were lost. That was the primary thing. Predominant, I think, the message that I got from you, you got that across to me, that you were lost and trying to find your way home. Am I right about that?
I felt that, but at the same time, I felt that once I spoke the car, it's like my car, it just was there. Mm-hmm. I'm telling her about this car, and then it kind of just like appears, and I'm like, so it gave me more of a sense of, yes, that what we speak, we have to be careful how we talk to ourselves or the things we speak consistently, because we make them manifest in our lives, and we're not, really conscious of it.
Exactly. That's what Malachi used to always say, mind your mind for the jewels of your soul. Because what's important to know here is that you are all creators, the center of your own creation, and everything is an equal distance from you. We all are creating our own realities. Again, when you think about a person speaking to a friend in a house and it's 72 degrees and they're perfect temperature and they're cool and calm, then the host goes to the kitchen to prepare some snacks, and while they're gone, you start reflecting on some person or situation that made you extremely angry, where you felt that you were being misused or unfairly treated. And you try to stop thinking about it because you're in a pleasant mood. The more you try not to think of it, the more you do, until you start getting very agitated and hot. You raise your kundalini and you start perspiring on the nose, under your armpits. Your heart rate increases. You start palpitating, heavy breathing. You know what I mean? You got a hump in your back and your nose wide flash, you're hot, right? And they come in, what's the matter with you, sister? Nothing. And they all just thinking, you don't want to say this nigga, this white person did me something. But, so you know that your thoughts can create energy, because heat is a form of energy, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, also, when you think about it, matter and energy are interchangeable, because the natives example I give is that when you have a cigarette, that's matter, but when you light it, the heat and the light are two forms of energy. So you convert, and as the cigarette burns, the matter into energy. So again, matter and energy are interchangeable. So when you deal with algebra, and you think about it, if thought and energy are interchangeable, and matter and energy are interchangeable, so you're thinking up things, saying to a thing, being it is. So if you create things with your mind, and you are, then it is very important that you're careful about guarding your thoughts and what you think about. Yeah. You have to watch the kind of programs you look at, the kind of company you keep, and you got to control your inner being, because you are projecting your own reality with your thoughts. So a person that has negative thoughts all the time, that thinks evil continuously, they're creating hell for themselves and everybody around them, you see?
Yeah.
Yes. So that was very observant of you and very wise, and it shows a strong indicator that you're becoming more and more conscious and in control. You're piloting your own craft, and I'm happy about that. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Too.
Okay,
also, when I woke up, it was the feeling that I had was like I was there. It just felt so real, and I kept questioning myself, did I actually do this? Am I recalling a memory that I had previously, or was it was so real?
I know. It's as real as this is. But this, too, you have to be reminded, is also just an experience.
Exactly.
Now you have to know that in the spiritual realm, when you get there again, and that's where home is, I wanted to tell you, it's the spiritual realm that people have fallen from, down to the physical, third D. This is as solid and actual and time-bound, or the lowest vibratory state you could possibly achieve. But when you do get back to your long home, the spiritual home, whenever you think of a thing, like a red apple in your hand, it immediately appears like your car. You'll notice, all of you, when you have what you call dreams, you might be one place with one person, and then in an instant you're in another complete place with another person in another situation, because you're changing situations with the speed of thought. You follow what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But right here, it's slowed down. It's slowed down on a 3D.
Yes.
And one of the primary reasons for that is because if you have negative thoughts, they would manifest. So if you just imagine yourself land on the floor and a 10-ton elephant standing on your chest, you wouldn't have time to change it. It would just happen. You would, and that would be hell, wouldn't it? So you're given you're given a brief instant to think about it, consider what you're thinking here, so that you have to learn to train yourself. And like Malachi said, mind your mind for the jewels of your soul, and start trying to control what it is you think. Because a lot of people let their mind just run away with them, like old people used to tell you. And when you do, that's a very dangerous situation, because you create reality. You follow what I mean? Right. So you have to be very guarded in your thoughts and think about what it is. And when you have people around you that are very negative, that's a dangerous situation, because they're going to invoke anger and agitation in you all the time and lower your vibrations all the time. So if you are a very positive and peaceful person, a heavenly person, they're going to constantly keep you down in their hell. You see what I mean? That's what they do. You can be in a very good mood, and they can just look at you and say one thing, and they trip that trigger, and you can feel the devil literally come out of them and shift your joy to misery. You follow what I mean?
I have a question about that.
Okay.
I have a question about that.
Oh, roll back. Okay, go ahead, sister.
My question about that is being, and I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, grounded in that your higher self or your conscious being for myself is aware and knows all and sees all. So when these, I can't be, I don't have on an invisibility cloak where I can dismiss myself from all ugliness or killings or the news or anything like that. I still have to live in this illusion, so I have to have my self-defense mechanism, or I have to gear up to where I can see what this is. Exactly. I can see it, and it can happen. I can observe it happening and still not be affected by it, because we're not living in a shell of whatever.
And that's called in the world, but not of the world.
You're not going to. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So we have to have the equipment, and when I say equipment, I mean from a mental point of view that I can handle this, or I am handling it. It's not happening to me. I'm observing it.
That's right. I'm not this body. I'm not this situation. I'm only watching this happen from above.
Exactly.
And I have to tell you that you're achieving that result just in right now, and being inquisitive and asking a question. That sets a definite intention, and that's moving you along the path that you need to achieve that state, that mental state. But now, what you said was very interesting. What you said was very important.
I've had people come to me and share, I guess, private things or hurtful situations or something that happened to them, and I guess it's something that they needed to release or whatever. So I was like, okay, girl, let's go ahead and let's do this about this person or this and that. Because, even for myself, I'm here in this body, in this illusion or whatever, and sometimes I need to get stuff out. So it's like, okay, should I just not say anything and I'm just going to pop? I'm going to hold it in. I'm going to hold it in. So...
Well, it's not about holding it like a steam kettle it'll build up pressure. But what I mean is this, overall, what you have to do, you're in a negative situation. On this planet was a reformatory for wayward angels, for fallen angels. So it's a lot of negative entities from all over creation that have been cast down to this one ugly little spot for ugly little beings. And they think ugly and evil continuously. All right, so you got that projecting, even when you sleep, you got satellites, cell phones, different waves, negative waves, people arguing and cussing, going through you. Satellites, TV, regardless of what time of day or night that you turn. I appreciate you letting me, regardless of what time of day or night that you turn the TV on, it's on, just like it is in the daytime, right? So those monster pictures and all that are steadily being projected through you. All this evil energy and pain, like in Ukraine and all these mass shootings, they're going on. All these evil things being projected by these reptilian evil creatures is going on constantly. So it's a very dark world. Your only psychic self-defense, you can't, like you said very clearly, that was sterling reality. I'm in this environment, so I can't cancel out all this negativity. But you can start including a lot of positive things into it. It's like going into a dark room and you're afraid of the dark. It's not about trying to get rid of the dark, it's about turning on the light. And what happens to the darkness automatically? Just
it
understand.
goes away.
Exactly. And the fear with it. And the negativity with it. And all these negative emotions go with it. So the thing is, you have to remember that the truth is the light. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
So this is a lying world, and devils lie, or the devil is a liar. And they lie all the time. And they don't even know, they're not even conscious of it. They just think, well, this is the way I think. This is me. You know what I mean? I'm just being natural, the way I am. But it's all lies inside of their mind. So you have to keep interjecting the truth. So just like when I send these packages to you, thank you, Linda. When I send these packages, like you mentioned earlier, very positively, is that when you get these DVDs and CDs from me, to play them all night in the CDs while you're in your car or, walking when you're walking, etc., and keep that positive information and truth running through you all the time. To attend these classes and to surround yourself with very positive people. And even when you're looking at TV, try to tune into nature shows of very positive things. You follow what I mean? You don't want to turn on a thing where they operate and cutting a woman's eyeball out, these things that make you uncomfortable and squirm. You don't need that. You follow what I mean? And dreams, out of every 12 dreams, on average, you have like 7 false dreams and 5 true dreams. And your dreams are heavily, the 7 false dreams are influenced by the last conversation you had before you go to sleep, or the last television picture you looked at. So you don't want to look at Jason or Frankenstein just before you go to sleep and have that on your mind. Because just like when you were a child and you had a horrible dream, as you get more mature into adulthood, your dreams get more mature too. So when a cartoon comes on and Popeye knocks off Brutus' head or something, well, that'll turn to the Headless Horseman, a guy riding a horse and a sword chops his head off. You follow me? But it's the same dream that's going into your mind. So we have to learn how to get redirect all this negative energy into positive energy by having a constant inflow of positive information and being around positive people and clean and beautiful situations and thinking about how to make things more pleasant and more organized and more clean and more cheerful and more light and truth all the time. You don't want any lies, darkness, or ignorance. Ignorance is pain, too.
Right.
You don't want to be around ignorant people because they're like a bull in a china shop. Every time they turn around, they're going to shatter peace. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Everything they step on, every time they move, they're going to be breaking things emotionally because they're Claude Harpers. You follow what I mean? They have no spiritual finesse at all.
I guess it's in the tablets. Are you taught or said we're 180 degrees of agreeable and 180 degrees disagreeable? Because, I know I've done some things that I'm not willing to share with the class that were not very becoming. And I don't know, maybe everybody else here has been perfect and hadn't done anything wrong.
Not early, but I make mine link,
honestly say, you know what I'm saying? I can honestly say I had been angel or, the best person. So I'm saying overcoming, you said, turn ourselves inside out in our perspective as who and what we are.
Exactly.
So saying, okay, Vivica, you need to check yourself. Unc, you need to check yourself. Or Vivica, step back and let Unc come forward. Unc come forward in peace. Because, Vivica is out of control here.
Yes. But she's not in control of anything. In other words, about the devil is very weak. You follow? Their only strength is our weakness. You follow? So people have to become conscious of the duality of them. For example, when they're trying to decide on whether they want to eat pig feet or salad, their carnal self will say, I want the pig foot and I'm grown, I can have it. But their higher self will say, eat the salad. You need that. It's lighter, and it's more, healthy for you. It's clean. It's a godly choice. And they'll go back and forth. But you have the sha'ah, or the free will, to choose between which one you're going to, the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the next. So you're in control of your choices, but you're not in control of the suggestions. Because the lower self is going to make negative suggestions to you. But if you're weak, you're going to always get that alcohol or smoke that cigarette or say that ugly thing to people. You follow what I mean?
To us.
Or touch that thing that's not yours or think about something evil, you see? Because that's the suggestion. If you're a very weak person and you don't really come in contact with your higher self in any meaningful way and learn how to access that and let that be the driver of your life, then you're going to find yourself being the devil and doing evil things and being in evil situations, and you're going to start drawing hatred toward you all the time. You follow what I mean? Because people are just they're not going to like what's coming from you, what you emit. Go ahead.
So as people,
and neither are you.
I don't know if mature is the correct word, but the Most High allows you to grow old. So some of these things are able to drop some of those things. You're able to do a U-turn. Exactly. Whereas in,
Yeah, so what it means is that
late teens.
I'm not trying to talk over you when you're trying to explain something to the class, but let me say, is that one of the gifts by the Most High is old age. That a lot of people think that that's misfortune or a terrible thing. But a lot of people die in childbirth, you know what I mean? And to die at the height of your mischief-making career in the middle of drug transactions or as a sex worker or something, you can imagine, as an alcoholic or something, you go straight to hell because that's, you die in danger. But he allows people to grow old because, take, for example, sex and running the streets day and night. When you get a certain age, you just can't do that anymore. And so you have right back, or you burn out desire. So that's his way of blessing people. So don't frown on people that get old or yourself if you feel yourself aging, because that could be your only opportunity, especially if you're weak, to burn out your negative desires. Even though some people don't want to cling to them, just like the head of a jackass sticking out the belly of a pig, and, for life. They just want to keep being lustful and thinking about evil things, no matter if they're 90 years old, you see. But those people won't make it. But yes, you're right in your assessment. And I'm very pleased with your the way that you get this knowledge and putting things in perspective and getting your house in order. So thank you very much for that. That's very good. And if you have anything else that you'd like to add, please do now.
No, I don't. Thank you, Messiah.
I thank you very much. All right. I don't know if she heard you, but it gets people thanking you. All right.
All right. Thank you for that, sis. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay.
You're more than welcome, Lucas. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to thank you again, too. All right. Now, next, who else has a spiritual experience that they'd like to share with us? Or what is that first question? Did anybody have any of those sightings of UFOs or what have you that they'd like to share with us?
This is Hotel. When I was working out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, every year they would say, coming up to Christmas time, they always would save me a load to get me over to South Carolina for Christmas. So this particular time, I had been running hard, and I had to pick up a load for Walmart. But anyway, when I made it down to the yard there in Fort Smith, my truck had to go in the shop for service. And so I heard and I did my paperwork and turned that in. But I looked at my watch, and it was 4 o'clock, right on the dot. And I said, well, maybe by the time they service my truck, I can make it to West Memphis, Arkansas, right there at Memphis, Tennessee. And so I put my truck in the shop, and I was tired. And I went in the driver's lounge and sat down, and I went to sleep. So I woke up about 9 o'clock, and I walked to the door, and I looked over toward the shop, and my truck was still sitting at the door there where I parked it. And so I said, well, maybe they'll get to it after a while. And I went back to sleep. So I woke up again about 10, and my truck was still sitting there. So I walked over there and found out what was going on. And so that day crew, they was waiting for the midnight crew to come in. So I just went to sleep. But anyway, by the time they got finished with my truck, it was too late. And I said, well, I'm just going to wait till in the morning. But I woke up about 3:30. And I got up, I got out of my truck, and I stood there, and I was looking westward from where I was sitting, and I seen this light, and I thought it was just a single-engine plane coming eastward towards me. But all of a sudden, it started like you would take a basketball and throw it up against the wall, and it bounced off. And I said, no, it can't be a plane. And I watched that thing, and then it went off on a northeast direction. It made a Z in the sky. And I watched that until it was about gone. And I got back I went to get in my truck, and something the mind hit me and said, look back and see, can you see that light again? And when I looked back, here comes this light, but this light was growing. I mean, and I would bet you $1 million if I had it that I was looking at the moon, same configuration, and it was moving with a speed unbelievable. It looked like it was in a haze, like a mist light. And this thing came up just about right over my head, and it slowed down and did a 45-degree turn, went off towards the east, and it slowed down to almost stop. And I was scared. I was petrified. I couldn't move. But this thing, by the time you got to say the word one, it would have been gone. You couldn't even say that. I mean, it just you seen a flash, a burst of light, and it was gone. But that was an experience I never forgot it, and that was in '98.
Thank you so much, Gary. I appreciate you sharing that with us. All right. Anybody else have an experience they'd like to share with us?
I do.
Hello? Okay, very good.
Okay, back in like '89, my mom was working a night shift, and me and my sister would always meet her outside when she got off from work. And she put up in the driveway. She said, "Look," and we saw this metallic craft that she said followed her. She noticed like above the tree, up on top of the trees, right, and followed her to where we lived. And the craft just pretty much set over our neighbor's house. It was so close you could throw a rock at it. It was that close. So I started to walk towards it, and it started like back up a little bit. So I hopped in my car and drove the area we lived, and made a right turn, and it just took off. And I've always had this thing about UFOs, but that was our first really encounter, and that's how I got into Doc's writing, because the first book I read was The Fallacy of Easter, and the book talked about UFOs, so that's how you know, I think maybe drove me to that, I'm not for sure, but I just know that that craft was so close, you could hit it with a rock. And then it started backing off this planet left.
That's very important. I've had some pretty close encounters myself. In fact, I've been on crafts and piloted crafts and been in other worlds and other planets, quite frequently. So I know this is a very real phenomenon. A lot of people are trying to figure out and scratch their head without their hands, wondering whether or not it's real. But let me assure you, this is very real. Yes. I'd like to share one myself. In fact, I know I've shared this before, but let me do it again. I was in a world, in a vibration, and it was dark. And I looked up toward the sky, and I saw this extremely bright, what I thought was a star, except that the brightness was not Earth-like. It was too bright. It was too bright. And it was coming toward me. I could tell because it was getting larger and larger and brighter and brighter. And there was another identical white object that was orbiting around it, going around it, and it was equally bright, but smaller. And it got closer and closer, and I was wondering how close it would get, but I was almost hypnotized or entranced. I couldn't move or react, and I just, as it got closer and closer to me, it just enveloped me, engulfed me. And I remember just being absorbed in this blinding light, and I lost consciousness. Then the next thing I know, I was hovering over the earth, the world, again, and I was looking down on the clouds, and the clouds parted, and I saw two armies, one on the left and one on the right, and they were coming into each other like in a clashing for war, and the ones on the right that were dressed in black with like leather vests on, not quite humanoid, they were just destroying the ones on the left, the earthlings. They didn't have a chance. It was like a fight you have when you hit them and they hit the ground. It was no competition in it at all. They didn't have any chance. Then I lost consciousness again, and I was way out in the darkness of space, and I was looking down and to my left, and I saw Nibiru. The craft Nibiru in vivid detail, every antenna, everything on it. And to the left, the bottom left of Nibiru, I saw this smaller, bright light that I saw orbiting around the larger one. And I'm thinking to myself now, was that bright light, was that Nibiru? Because it can change sizes. A lot of people don't know. It can get bigger or smaller. And you may think that it can only, because it's like 3 times bigger than the Earth, and you have some that are 10 times bigger than the Earth, but it can get as small as they want it to get. You follow? Even maybe golf ball size. It can get small. It's an interdimensional, a sentient craft that's not just only made of metal and stones, etc., but it's also soul. Just like you have a physical body with bones and teeth, but you're also a soul being. The Nibiru is an ascension craft like you. You can go into the Holy Tablets, chapter 7, and see a man turning himself into a ship. So when you have an OBE, or out-of-body experience, you're actually raising up in vibration and turning yourself into a sham, into a craft, and you take flight when you feel like you're flying and floating in what you think is a dream. You're actually your own craft, and sometimes people see you in the night sky, and they think you're a falling star with a tail behind it. But that's actually you flying across the sky. Like a lot of people, when I'm moving stars, they see that bright object with a tail behind it shoot across. That's me, because I'm exerting energy in that area, right? So I want you all to try to get a better grasp of what you call extraterrestrials and UFOs. It's just interdimensional beings. Rather than being the physical, lower, gross aspect of yourself, it's the spiritual, faster vibrating aspect of yourself, the light being, right? So anyway, when I was looking down at Nibiru, and then I saw this bright light ball to the left and down of that, I lost consciousness again. Well, but before I did, I glanced to my right, and I saw this elder sister in her 80s, one of my favorite students. Her name was Susie Campbell, and she was turning head over heel, a beautiful brown copper tone baby girl, an infant. You know, like you do cartwheels, feet overhead. She was just tumbling like that towards the earth, way away, tumbling towards the earth. And I thought about when she was here before she crossed over. Every time she saw a little baby girl, she just lost her mind, bought them gifts and everything, and just asked the parents permission to pick them up and hug them. And she loves baby girls, so I was thinking that might have been the heaven that she wanted. Because I know when she did cross over, I found that she was in my arms crying, and I just looked down and I said, Susie, what's the matter? And she said, when they came, and she said the rescue squad, in the words that she put it, I didn't have my hair wasn't done, it was all over my head, you know, because she usually keeps her hair in big, thick braids, but this time it was all over her head. And I said, oh, don't worry about that. Those people used to see in all kind of conditions, that's just their job, don't worry about that. You're going to be all right, Susie. And I pat her on the back. I said, you're going to be all right. She said, really? I said, yeah. You're going to be. So she went on her way and went on to her heaven. But then I looked down and to the left again, and I saw a sham there. And it was a perfect sham in a crown shape. And it had the big hole in the bottom with extremely bright light coming out of it. Real bright light. And then I saw 3 gold rings run up in a circle and cling, cling, cling onto the bottom. And I knew that was her soul. She had turned herself into a craft, or it was mine. But then the next time the scene changed, I was sitting on the Nibiru with a port window to my left on some kind of a divine or something. And there was a bright light in this dark place behind me with an opening in the wall like a big petition. And I looked over my shoulder into a medical facility, and it was brightly lit. And my mother was there on the bed, and she was in her youth, and she was vigorous and young. Her hair was thick and black, and she was so healthy. And I saw this black nurse. She was standing to the right side of my mother, and she was had a little weight on her. She had a white uniform on, just like a nurse, had her back to me, so I couldn't see it. And I thought about that, too, walking. And then my attention went to, there was a being sitting on this little couch of divine on my right, next to me, in the dark, and I saw the silhouette of it, and I started explaining about the view. I was an ascension craft, and this, that, and the other. And this being just kept saying, making his head go up and down, saying, yeah. Like, you on the right track. That's right. Yeah. It looked like an insect or something with the black exoskeleton, shiny black exoskeleton. And as I kept looking at, I started beaming in on him real close and closer, and I woke up back at home. after I started going in close. But now, I know now when you start thinking about the Anasazi Indians and a lot of those Indians in the Midwest, and they always made reference to the ant people. Those are Anunnaki, and they will always live under the ground. So the Anunnaki can come in that form too as insect beings, like ants. You know what I mean? So I just want you all to be conscious of that because in your travels out there, you may run in and encounter anything. So I want you to understand there is agreeable and disagreeable in every species. However, when you're dealing with this Earth class, like Ankh said, you're going to be running into a lot of disagreeable beings, earthlings and otherwise, because of what's going on inside of us. Listen to me good. If you have positive thoughts and positive energy, you only can attract positive beings and positive energy. But if you think negatively and you have negative thoughts, we're surrounded by beings and life forms. You can't even imagine how many different types. But all of them are either positive or negative, and there are some that have clashing energy. They're kind of neutral, all right? But if you have negative thoughts, the negative beings are attracted to your light. They'll circle around your crown mold at the top of your head, reading the spectrum, the colors, and as it shifts to like amber and red, they drop down in that vortex and come down through your head and just totally possess you. And you possess the devil. So if a person thinks negatively continuously all the time, guess what they're possessed with all the time? Until you start saying that person is the devil. Or they say to themselves, I know I'm the devil. You know I was being the devil. I'm the devil. You know, they know that. But that's not true. What you really are is the only thing that you could be is divine love, which is the only reality. Everything else is mere illusion. We are creating these other situations and other projections because we're not minding our mind for the dues of our soul. That's why I think that conversation with Uncle was so very important. She brought out a lot of things that were important for us to learn moving forward. And I hope everybody tried to understand it. If you don't, if you're inquisitive, ask questions about it. Okay, so now who else has a experience they'd like to share, or what is that first question?
Yeah, Rahul back.
Rahul back.
I want to share an experience that was kind of touches on a couple of things that you just shared. I had a dream that I was sitting on a porch in a nice neighborhood a while ago. And in this neighborhood on the street, I saw on one side a Latino gang, and on the other side an Asian gang getting ready to do battle. So they're preparing, they're getting close to doing battle, and I think they actually did start fighting. And then some aliens came along. You know, insect, ant-looking beings. And the two gangs, the Latin gang and the Spanish gang, joined up to fight the aliens. All of this is happening in the middle of the street, and I'm sitting on the porch watching it just from beyond a fence, and I'm wondering, like, can nobody see me over here? What's going on? And I turn around, over my back left shoulder, and I see one of those ant beings just standing there. And I didn't get scared or anything because what it was projecting to me, it was saying that you're safe. You don't have to worry about none of this. And that was
all right. Well, that was powerful. That was a spiritual experience. I like that. I love that. All right. Now, Fatah in Washington, D.C., you wanted to share some UFO experiences with us, too. So if you would, loud and clear, step up and please share.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for responding. Could you please share, you were going to share at least one of your experiences with extraterrestrial craft?
Yes. Well, back in December of 2016, it was me, my mom, and brother driving to Waldorf, Maryland. And all of a sudden I looked up and saw a triangle craft.
Oh, yeah.
With three lights. It didn't make a sound. And I just stared. They didn't notice, but I was just looking and didn't even video it. Then at disappeared or whatever.
Okay, what color was it?
It was like black with light.
Right. I've seen those crabs. I saw one very close with a disciple, Darius Palmer. Yeah. I saw it across the street on the ground at the bottom of a tall tree line. And I told him that was my family with that big round amber light in the front. And I told him that they'll do whatever I tell them. So I told them to raise up I asked them to raise up to the top of the tree line. They did. And I ran up to the porch. This is for people that didn't hear this. And I could see them better from that angle. And I asked him with a video camera, because I was moving stars for people, to come up and video. And he stood next to me on my right side. And I asked him, was he all right? He said, well, I'm not afraid of anything as long as I'm standing next to you, Abu. I said, okay, so I'm going to call him to us now. So I said, come to me, family. And they started moving slow from over the top of the trees directly toward the porch, real slow, and exactly like Patah said, silent, totally silent, no noise at all. They never have noise. And they got closer and closer over the parking lot, and I wasn't conscious enough to say, let's get the cell phone in here because it's right there, like closer to the car in the parking lot. So we kept using the big video camera with the star feature on it, like the thing's light years away, but we still got the footage. And when it was passing over us, it was so close, like Amanda said, I could just jump up with a long broom and touch the bottom of it. I felt like a mechanic in the bottom of a bay, changing oil under a car. You could see everything under it. It was lit up with those three lights and the one in the center. And when I turned to ask Darius, are you recording? And then I saw that he had dropped the camera and was running around the side of the house as fast as he could. He was leaning so hard that if he had changed in his pocket, it would have fell out. And I was thinking to myself, now, I don't know where you think you're running, son, because if they wanted to do something to you, it would have happened already. But it just slid over the house and disappeared. What I was going to do if he was standing next to me is I was going to ask him to go down to the pecan orchard there and land, and then I was going to pull up and then tell him to sit there and watch while I went inside, and then came back out and told him, motioned him to come on in, but if he dropped the camera just videoing it, I know that he wasn't going to be ready for that, so, but these things are very real, and these extraterrestrials, they're actually people just like you, in fact, closer to your own jugular vein, because they are actually you in the future. Are you following me? So what they're doing is coming at you again from your past through your future. Let me say it again. They are actually you coming at yourself again from your past through your future in order to make corrections, so that you won't be trapped here in this three-dimensional slow down mud vibration where you can this reality where you can get aged and die and have plagues and all these uncomfortable things, time barred, to get out of hell in essence. So this is time for us to have this conversation and really focus on it very hard. All right. Now, who else? Who back?
Maru.
All right, Maru. How things going in Miami, in Florida?
It's going all right.
All right.
Kind of slow, but
yeah, I know that everywhere.
In 2010, I had an experience over there by Bogosiega, in a place called Bogosiega, in St. Petersburg, Florida. It was approximately 3 o'clock in the morning. I had got a phone call from this dude named Tahuti. Tahuti name is Jimmy, but his name Tahuti. And so this guy here, he calls me 3 Sunday in the morning, and I was working for the ice cream company at the time, Bry's Ice Cream. And I told him I could probably come out the door and see what you was talking about, because he said it was something outside. Maybe if I can go outside and take a look. So I went outside, and I told him I couldn't see nothing. So he was like, maybe you have to get in the car, get your mama car and come over here. He was actually probably 10 minutes away from me. So I said, okay, I'm going to jump in the car, I'm going to get the keys and come over there. So he said, just come over and pull up, you'll see me standing, just come over there, pull up, and just look, and we'll walk. So I said, okay, I'm on my way. So it got to be something that this guy really want me to see. So I roll up over there, and I park I walked, like, come on, we got our degrees together, and my son-in-law. So he was, like, making me walk with him. And I walked with him, and he said, Marua, he said, look up. And I looked up. It was a big old, like a real huge crowd. And then he was like, he said, that's nothing. He said, that's nothing. He said, let's walk again. So I walked, and he took me to another place. He said, Marua, look up. I looked up. It was it was like over 1,000 crowds. And it was like zooming through the sky, like zooming. He said, that's nothing. Let's take another walk. So we walk out there towards the street, like in the front of the apartments. He said, Marua, look up. I looked up, and I saw these 5-dimensional, like, it was another dimension, colors I never seen before. And these things were transforming, like they were coming down like bird wings, and then they were transforming, going back up and down. I'm like, what is that? He said, I don't know. And he was like, he said, now look over to your right. And I look over to my right. I see 50 crowds, like 50 crowds going in like a column of crowds. He said, look to the left. I look to the left. It's another column of crowds. We sat there for like 2 hours watching these crowds. So I was trying to call Kim, before his name was Kim at the time. I was calling him Carlos. Pick up the phone. He would never pick up the phone because he stayed like right around there. Couldn't get him to pick up the phone. I called everybody. Nobody didn't want to come out. The lady I live with right now, she saw it. So it's like, it was crazy, man. And then I ended up going to work that morning, 6 o'clock that morning. And it was like all on the news that it was a planet came in that area that they never seen before. And they covered it up, tried to make it seem like it was just a planet. And it came our way and stuff like that. But then I got a phone call. It's the last call. I got a phone call from Tam, and Carlos called me. He said, man, I missed your call, man. I saw something strange. I said, man, I was trying to reach you because it was all in the sky. He said, well, when I got up, it was about 8 o'clock or something like that. He said, this thing took off like a bumblebee off the ground. I said, man, these are the things I was trying to call you to tell. And he was like, well, I saw that thing took off. It was like a bee or a fly. I said, man, it was right there in your field, too. That was crazy.
Roll back. Marua telling the truth. Roll back. Hey,
all right, Amun. Kim, tell us what you saw that night.
That night, I saw crabs in the sky zooming, and I told Marua that I called him, and he said he seen the same thing I seen. Then another thing, while I was working on the boat with Marua, and it was sun gazing, and we went outside, right? And he canted, and these 2 blue lights just came through, like soaring through the sky and went up and went into the water. And a couple hours, or the next day, we called you, and you said I was you. Amun?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So I witnessed a lot of things with Marua.
I got you. Well, I'm very close to a lot of you. And those of you that know me well, you know that I'm what you call an extraterrestrial. But, of course, all of you are, too. And there's something else people need not be confused about anymore. They think about this science as something religious. It's not. It's not just spookism or religion. Because angels are actually extraterrestrials. So all of you are biblical angelic beings here on earth. But some of the beings on earth are fallen angels. And earth, like I said, is a penitentiary for wayward angels. Just start paying attention to television, the shows, a lot more about extraterrestrials, and look at your commercials where you're seeing the fallen angels. Hi, I'm a prince, and I need your help. And they bouncing off roofs or they flying around under the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And you know the fallen angels are Nephilim. They're giants. There were giants on earth in those days. You see a woman with a briefcase and flying in a red car. Then you see this one guy flying under the bridge, and he's got on a baseball uniform. And the name of it is the Giants. Okay, so it's not a coincidence. Then you see somebody in the background standing next to a big bear, hugging a big bear. That bear represents me. That bear, they call Ahmed, the Mahdi, the bear. And those that know me know that I'm also Ahmed and Amun. But like Obama said on the DVD that I sent you all when he was walking with the reporter, out of context totally, Obama looked at the camera and said, the bear is loose. The bear is loose. And I was thinking to myself, he sure is. If you're talking, some people remember all those commercials they had about the bear riding on a bike, catching fish on a streetcar, walking in the house behind people, big butt, walking around. There's bear commercials all over the place. They were trying to let you know that I'm back. That's all. And it's not a giant of physical stature, although I can stretch. I know Anubis and Hotep, you all live here with me. So if you all can...
Yes, that's true. A couple of days ago, I don't know where I was in the kitchen, but my mom was coming to his bedroom doorway into the kitchen. And I just happened to look up. And his head was just like maybe 2 inches from touching the top of the doorway when he was walking through. So, I mean, he had stretched up that high. So I told him later on that, and then when he came into the kitchen, he was still so extra tall. And I saw this. So later on I told him, I said, I saw you stretch. I said your head was like a couple inches from the top of the doorway when you were walking through the doorway back and forth between the kitchen and into his bedroom. And then yesterday, the day before or something like that, he said he saw himself stretched up like that. So yes, that's true. He does stretch it. When I remember that when I came here for the first time in 2016 with my granddaughter, so he was taking us to lunch, and I thought that he was rather short, like around 5'10" or 11 or something like that. But when I came back in November of that same year, he was way taller. So yes, he does stretch.
And so Malachi New York stretch. And Reverend Alexander Smith and this student of mine, the disciple Darius Palmer, he stretched too. Go ahead.
I bear witness to what Anuka is saying. When I first met Brother Amun, he was standing on his doorstep, and he seemed to be about 5'7", 5'8", something like that. What? And when I see them again, I said, wait a minute, now, is he still growing? Because he was tall. And that thing amazed me. And right now today, the same thing happened. I've seen it more than one time. He came out of this room yesterday. I was in the kitchen doing something and I just looked around real fast. And like I never say, his head is almost up to the top of the door.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt that myself. Because Anuka asked me, do you feel that when it happens? And I told her, I don't pay attention. But I felt it yesterday when I came out, when I opened up the bedroom door, and Harry was in the kitchen in front of me. And I looked way down on him. He looked like he was about 2 feet. He looked like a little bitty child, and he looked up real quick, and he just dropped his head and shrunk back and started backing up in the kitchen. But I remember one time I was in this out-of-body experience, I thought, but it was dark, and I was walking down the sidewalk, and it was a big, big tree, and I started walking under it, and then I saw Malachi. He was on the sidewalk in front of me, and he had squatted down, like with his wallet to the ground. After he saw me, because what happened is I walked out from under the tree, and I stretched up real tall. And when he saw me, he just dropped down, kind of like Harry did, down to the ground. And when he did that, I walked up on him, and then I dropped down eye level with him to let him know, I don't mean it like that, brother. I don't mean it like that. But, yeah, this is a very real thing, because in the spirit, we're soaring beings. Spiritually, there's no limit to how big you are in the spirit, all of you. So know that all these things are real, and you all are magnificent beings. You're gods in your own right, and you whatever you think you are. And the thing about, take a reptilian species, there's no such thing as that. What you are is divine love and consciousness. But now, if you're around a person that has very negative thoughts and negative energy, and you look at them, your mind interprets them, that unshaped astra, as an ugly being, which is a reptile in human consciousness. And you see a reptilian, but that's not what it is in front of you. What it is just ugly, ugly thoughts and energy. It's even that when they look in the mirror and see themselves, that's just ugly thoughts and ugly energy. And it takes that kind of an ugly form, a monster, right? like my daughter said, a big black monster that scared me, Daddy. But, you know, you get angry or whatever, you know. But now back on track. I know I was sitting out in the yard here. I was living by myself for years and years. It was dark. And I used to just sit out and relax in the yard. I was looking up in the sky, as usual. And I saw a crab come from the right and one come from the left. And they didn't come together, but they started firing lasers, just like they started firing lasers at each other. One was firing red laser on the left toward the craft on the right, and the one on the right was firing a green and blue laser. And they kept going back and forth with this fire, and the one with the on the right shot the one with the red laser down right in front of me. And I was wondering who else saw that. Because I'm really confused about why you don't hear from NOAA or NASA or all these different agencies with like the craft that Darius Palmer and I experienced when I saw that big giant cigar-shaped craft with 13 people watching it float over the house so silently with those rows of circular port windows and bright light and all those little brown beings look like same uniform, like little grays or something, but they were brown, like they always are, you know, just staring down at us. You know, just blocked out the whole sky. This thing was so big. But, yeah, this stuff is very real, and I'm here for you all to make that connection, but understand that people are angels, right? You are those extraterrestrials. Those are people. That's you and your future. And many of them are coming back to try to straighten out your past. We call it far back and beyond. So just stay close and hold on to the rope. I come from a long succession or a line of beings that were sent here to help to guide you all. And in your memory, many of you can remember Elijah Muhammad, who passed the torch on to Malachi Z. York, who has passed the torch on to me, Amun Radom, the last and final elder, the Messiah. I am that. And these people that he's saying, Nawabians, he said, you Nawabians are those fallen angels. He said that at the Athens Ball. Very clearly and succinctly he said that. And that's, you know, reality. And anyway, my point is they've had all kinds of, and I want you all to know something very important for consistency. We've been going back and forth about whether I move stars and the whole creation at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 9 o'clock, because I've been right, but it's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I moved the whole sky, and 9 o'clock West Coast Time, Eastern Standard Time p.m., which is 12 o'clock our time here. So let me be clear, it's 9 o'clock, not 9:30, 9 o'clock. So if people have been going out as I instructed them, and they've been looking at 9:38 saying, well, he's not moving nothing, it's not happening. Go out there at 9 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock on the West Coast, you'll see it. If it's for you, if you were chosen and you're going to be able to make it, right? Because if you don't see it, I can't explain it except that it's not for you. All right. Now, who else has a question or spiritual experience they'd like to share? Let me say something else, too. I want to tell you all to be careful about that third voice in your life. You may say, what do you mean, Amun, third voice? Well, you know, Adam and Eve were a pair in the Garden of Eden, and they were in communion with God directly. But then there was a third voice popped up. That was the serpent. And all hell broke loose, right? Now, example I can give you, if you got a wonderful harmonic marriage between a man and a woman, of course, and everything's going fine, and then he has a friend, and his friend starts putting things in his mind like, what? Man, if I was you, I wouldn't let my wife talk to me like that, or I wouldn't let her do this, or if I was you, this, that, and the other. And this man, being influenced, starts thinking about these things, and it starts creating distance and coldness inside of his relationship with him and his wife. That's the third voice I'm telling y'all to be aware of that. The devil is in the garden, and he or she is always interjecting stuff. Girl, if I was you, I wouldn't let him do this and that and the other. If I was you, you know, but you're not me, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Get that in your mind. Watch that third voice that's going to come and try to inject something in your life to bring you down and destroy you, whispering. All right? Watch that. Okay. And remember that the Most High sent his only begotten Son to earth. And he was in the world, is in the world, and the world knew him not. He came to his own, and his own knew him not. Right? But unto those of you that believe in him, or believe in me, unto they give he them powers as gods and eternal life. And you start moving, so you bear witness to that you're achieving powers as gods?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure the people outside know it's real. And I'm a servant for them. I'm not trying to be big Willie and this, that, and the other. But we do need you all the support. We need computer technicians. We need a lot of things to grow this mission and to reach the world and make sure we don't leave a stone unturned. So please donate and help and propagate these testimonies and get it out and get the people and bring them to class and do everything in your power to make this mission successful. All right? This is our last thread. Don't mess up and get tired now. You come too far to give up now. All right. Now, who else has something they'd like to share?
I want to share something else because
very good.
The more and more you talk to people about, sightings and whatnot, the more and more you'll realize how many people have had sightings and just never had nobody to talk to or tell about it, or they suppressed it, or they forgot about it. Because not that long ago, I was talking to my sister, and she said one time she was with a group of friends and they saw like a flying box or a flying square craft or something like that. And that was the first and last I ever heard of the story. So a lot of people will wait, until even on their deathbed to share anything like that. So just,
right, because society is rejected it.
About it. Yeah, so I'm just saying, talk to people about it, and you'll find out more and more people have stories than you know.
That's good advice. Very good advice. Thank you for that. All right. Who has that next experience or that next question?
I have one.
Very good.
I know sometimes I have a lot of dreams about being in different places with all kind of different crafts, but they're mostly like saucer-like. But this one time, I don't know, it was like a lot of crafts around, and it had started out during the daytime, and all of a sudden, like this fight broke out, and it was like a lot of chaos and people running around. And I just remember just like trying to just get up out of there, ducking and dodging, away from all the chaos and stuff, and from, these beings, whoever they were that were fighting, in these crafts and stuff. And I ended up seeing my oldest daughter there. We just looked at each other, but we had to part ways and stuff because we both were trying to just get up out of there.
Wow. Well, that's what's going on. That's an indication of the turmoil and the war that's going on, the inner jihad, the holy war going on inside of us. Just like when I watch those crafts on the left and the right fighting with the red and the blue laser, that war is going on inside of me, and it's going on inside of you all, in Ukraine and all over the world and all over phenomenal creation. What you think is out there is only a projection of what's going on, a reflection, rather, of what's going on inside of us, the inner war between truth and lies, good and evil. And remember that this world right here is a place, the armpit of creation, where they sent all the disagreeable, backwards, lying, evil as creatures right here. They were cast down from the heavens to the earth. Truth is truth. Al-B-E-L Haglitha. That's the truth. John 8:32. Know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Thank you for that. All right, it's 10:25. We need people to go outside, disciples that are serious, and start moving these stars for the world. All right, who can be the first to perform some miracles for us tonight? Maror.
It's overcast outside of Riverside.
All right. Who can see some stars? Somebody in England, can you see something? In London?
No, nothing this side. It's overcast.
Nothing in London? It's overcast everywhere. So it's overcast all over the world, huh, Cheryl? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I joined late. I didn't realize the clock was on.
I'm sorry? Say it again?
I've joined the class late because I didn't realize your clocks have changed the time.
Oh, yeah. They just told me about it, too. I didn't know either.
I can see a star.
You see something?
In St. Pete, I can see the star.
Okay, go ahead. What are you going to do with that star? Thank you, Cheryl. I see it. Let me turn the lights off in here. Yes, come in. You can't see anything out there?
All creation go to the right. All creation go to the right.
All creation.
In the name of
all the stars. Okay.
In the name of Amun-Re. All creation going to the right. All creation go up. In the name of the Messiah Amun-Re. Go up. All creation going up. All creation go to the left. In the name of the Messiah Amun-Re. And all creation going to the left. Stop and go clockwise circle. In the name of the Messiah Amun-Re. Clockwise circle. And it's going clockwise. Now go up one more time in the name of the Messiah Amun-Re, all creation. Go up. They're going up.
All right. Maror. I love you all. Who else? Anybody else going to move anything for us tonight?
Yeah, I see a star, Messiah.
All right. I see it too. What are you going to do with it?
In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one only true Messiah, star, drop down. And it's dropping down. In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one only true Messiah, star, go up.
It wobbled a little bit.
It's going up.
Yeah.
It did. In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one only true Messiah, star, go clockwise. And it's going clockwise. In the name of Amun-Re, the Messiah, the one only true Messiah, star, go to the left. And it's going left, Messiah. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too.
I love you more. Anybody else want to perform a miracle for them tonight? Today, a visible miracle.
I see a star.
All right. Where you located, family? In Georgia?
In Florida. It's Katat.
Oh, in Florida. Okay, Katat. Your voice was heavier. Okay. Right. Go ahead, son. I see it.
All right. Let me move it to the right in the name of Amun-Re. And it's going right.
One to the right.
Move up in the name of Amun-Re.
Going up.
Going up. Drop down in the name of Amun-Re. And it's dropping down.
Dropping down.
Go to the left in the name of Amun-Re. And it's going left. Fast.
Going to the left.
Take it in a clockwise circle in the name of Amun-Re. Going clockwise. That was right.
I love you. There was a brother there said it's going down like it was the first time he saw it. He said it's going down. I like that. Yeah. All right. Anybody else like the brother that just saw that? Would you like to move something tonight? And I love you all. Please donate. Write your testimonies. I wanted Joanne Truly to write testimony. She gave a wonderful testimony. And all you all that got these testimonies, please type them out for posting so that the world and the heavens can bear witness to you. All of you, please send your testimonies and donations. And let's do this thing. And I got packages coming to some people, Mint Carway and other people. I love you all.